Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crocheters Creed, and today we are going to be making a purse inspired by the show The Amazing World of Gumball. I apologize, one, for my nails, they're not done, so I apologize for that, and the lighting. I've been trying to see what fits properly, so I'm sorry about that too, as well as the audio. I have my air conditionings on. So, the materials that you will need for this project: you will need black yarn, white, pink, light pink yarn, and a dark purple yarn. You will also need a dark blue yarn. You can either have a bright orange or dark orange type of yarn. You will also need yellow yarn, a light green yarn, and a light blue yarn. So, after you have all of that, you will also need, excuse me, okay, you will also need a 9mm hook, and if you don't have a 9mm hook, I just suggest the biggest hook that you have. And then you will also need a 5mm hook, as well as scissors, your yarn needle. You will also need your stitch marker, your glue gun, and also your glue. And you will also need 4 different types of felt. You will need white, you can't really tell, but you will need white felt, a light pink felt. You will also need a dark pink felt, and black felt. So, those are the materials that you will need for this project, and let's get started. Alright, now, since I have almost ran out of my purple yarn, as you can see, I'm going to use my light orange yarn. But you will be starting out with purple yarn. You're starting out making the bottom of the purse. So you will need your 9mm hook and your purple yarn. I'll be using my orange, and you are going to chain, as you see I've already done, you are going to chain 15. Okay, you chain 15. And then after you've chained your 15, you are going to half double crochet down the entire row for the starting row. Alright, now I have half double crocheted down the row, and now, sort of how you make a baby booty, you're going to half double crochet down the opposite side of your chain. So what I like to do is, basically you're putting another half double crochet into the last stitch. So put another half double crochet in that last stitch, and then you're going to start to half double crochet down the opposite side of the chain. And you're going to continue that until you get to the end of the row. Alright, so now that I have crocheted up the other side, I want you to slip stitch into the next stitch. So slip stitch here, and I'm going to chain 2 or 3, depending on what works for you. and you are going to half double crochet down all the way around until you get to the other end of the row. So half double crochet down the left side and stop when you get to the end. Alright, now I've gotten to my end, and you are going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Now, you turned it, you're going to chain 2 or 3, and you are going to half double crochet back down this side of the row until you reach the end. Alright, now after you've reached the end, you are going to slip stitch into the top stitch, and you are going to chain 2 or 3, and again you are going to half double crochet all the way around until you get to the end of the row. Alright, now I have finished half double crocheting down. I have reached my end, and you are going to slip stitch into the next stitch or top stitch. Come on, there we go. And chain 2 or 3, and for this last row you are going to half double crochet off and slip stitch into the end of the row. Alright, now when you've reached the end, you are going to slip stitch into the top stitch or next stitch, and this is when you will be adding and joining your other yarn. Now, like I said, this is purple. You start with your purple, and the purple is the bottom of the purse. Now, after you have finished that, you are going to chain 2, and you are going to, for rows 1 through 2, 1 and 2, you are going to half double crochet around the entire thing, no stopping at the ends this time, around the entire thing for rows 1 and 2 with purple yarn. Just continue with the purple yarn for rows 1 and 2. Right, now once you have finished that, you will begin with joining and adding on your rows. Now every row is going to be the same up until, let me see, every row is going to be the same up until row 21. Let me see, let me make sure that's right. Row 21. So you've used your purple yarn. Now you're going to switch to your light green yarn. Now every color has 2 rows, so just keep that in mind. Now the rest of this pattern is in the description. The rest of this purse just consists of half double crochet each row, except you're switching off each color. So for this row, now going off of the 2 rows that you just did in regular crochet, that's 1 and 2. So for rows 3 and 4, you are going to start with your light green yarn, and you are going to half double crochet around the entire thing, and you're going to continue this pattern half double crochet, just switching off your colors. So after you have completely finished your purse, I want you to yarn off, and then I will start and show you how to make the strap of the purse. 1 through 3, you are going to half double crochet in every stitch around. Like I said, pretty straightforward. And if you want your strap thicker, make it thicker, but this was what I did, just what I did. So after you have made the straps, now we're going to get into, which I think is the fun part, making the faces. So let's move on to the faces. Alright, now we are going to start with our faces. Now, the first face that I made is Gumball's face, and If you've seen the show, then you know they have these oblong, weird. They only have really one cheek, and it sort of protrudes out. So the first face that I made is Gumball's face. So you're gonna take your light blue yarn, and you are going to take your 5mm hook this time, and you're gonna make a slip knot. Now, I do also want to say this: every face for the most part is made the same, except for the ears, and of course with Darwin's face, he has that little fin on the side, but the basic face is always made the same. It's just turned the opposite way, because you know, for all their faces, their cheeks aren't on always the same side. So anyway, for Gumball's face, all of the faces are made the same, except for Anais and Nicole's face, which one is pink and one is blue. You will chain less for them, and that is it. So, I'll get to that later, but you're going to chain 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, you are going to single crochet down this entire row, and that will make it the starting row. And then for rows 1 through 5, you are going to chain 1 and single crochet in every stitch across. Right now I have finished my rows. I have done my starting row and then rows 1 through 5. Now for row 6, you are going to single crochet across until you get to the last 3 stitches on your row. So single crochet across and leave 3 stitches out. Alright, now once you've reached your last 3 stitches, you are going to slip stitch into the next stitch or first stitch. So you have 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into that next stitch and chain 1. Now, after that, for rows 7 through 11, you are going to single crochet in every stitch around. Alright, now I have finished my rows, and moving on to row 12, you are going to chain 1, and you are going to do an increase in the next stitch. After you have done an increase, you are going to single crochet, do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2. Now after that, you are going to do an increase again. Now after that, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So we have 1 and 2. Now you're going to complete this pattern until you have reached the end. I might as well just continue since we're almost there. So an increase, and then 1 and 2, and then an increase, 1 and 2, and then you should end on a increase. Single crochet in that last stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch or top stitch. Same thing. Now, that is the first part. Now you're going to yarn off. If you're sewing in, leave a long tail. If you're gluing like I do, chain 1 and yarn off and cut your ends. Now for the pupils. Alright, now for the pupils, again, your 5mm hook, you're going to make a slip knot. And for the pupils, you are going to chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and you are going to single crochet down the row again, and you are going to do the same thing as you did with the pupils, as the eye, excuse me, and single crochet, do another single crochet, and single crochet back down the other part of the row, the opposite part of the row. Now, I forgot to mention that for your eyes, after you single crochet down the row, you're going to single crochet around the entire thing one more time for the eye part, because the pupil is smaller. So this is all that you're going to get after you single crochet down. So what I mean by that is, for the pupil, single crochet down, and it's tinier, but I want the eye to be bigger. I forgot to mention that. After you've done this, for the eye, you're going to chain one and single crochet back around again to make it bigger for the eye part. Now this is the pupil part. So after you finish this, you yarn off so that it sits really snugly into the eye part. So after you've finished that and yarned off, I'm now going to show you how to make all of the ears for everyone and Darwin's fin. Now we are going to start out with Gumball's ears, which are made, I believe, let me check my pattern, which are made the same way as Nicole's. Alright, so now, starting with Gumball's ears, which are made the same way as Nicole's, you are going to chain 6, and you are going to single crochet back down the row, right? And now for row 1, you are going to chain 1, go back into the next stitch, and single crochet down the row again. I might be moving fast, so you might have to pause. And single crochet down till you get to the end. Chain 1. Now for row 2, I want you to go back in to the same stitch, and I want you to do a decrease. After your decrease, I want you to do 1 single crochet. Then after that, a decrease again. And then I want you to slip stitch into the last stitch for row 2. Now, chain 1, flip it. For row 3, I want you again to go back into the same stitch, and I want you to do a decrease again, and then another decrease in the last stitch. Now, that is pretty much your ears. Now you're going to make 4 this time, 2 for Gumball and 2 for Nicole. Now, after you have finished your ears, I'm just going to unravel it because mine are already made. Now we're going to move on to Anais' little bunny ears, which I think are adorable. Alright, now moving on to Anais' little ears, you're going to, using your pink yarn, you are going to chain 4. 2, 3, and 4. You did not see any of that. Sorry. So, you're going to chain 4. You're going to single crochet down the row. And for rows 1 through 3, actually no, yeah, for rows 1 through 3, you are going to chain 1 and single crochet down the entire row. Now since it's not that much, I'm just going to show you now. So this is row 1, row 1, row 2. It's not that much, so it, it doesn't take that long. Row 2, and row 3. Now, after you've finished, chain 1. Now for row 4, you are going to go into the next stitch, or the stitch right underneath your chain, and you are going to do an increase, a single crochet increase. So you put 1 single crochet and then 2. After that, you are going to put the next stitch, you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the last stitch you are going to do an increase again. Now, for rows 5 and 6, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet down the entire row. So this is row 5. And this is row 6. Now, after you're done, I want you to chain 1, and I want you to border it with slip stitches. So go into the side and start making a border of slip stitches. And you're going to do this all the way around and make a border of slip stitches all the way around for both ears. Now, the only thing left that we have to do is make Darwin's little fin. So, alright, now starting with Darwin's fin, you're going to take your orange yarn, your 5mm hook, and you are going to chain 6. You know the drill. You go back, single crochet, whoop, come on, single crochet back down the hook. Sorry, I keep doing that at camera. My camera's positioned in a different way so that it's not so much of a glare. If I point it up any higher, you're going to see the light. It'd be disorienting. Sorry about that, guys. After that, chain 1. You're going to turn, and for rows 1 and 2, you're going to single crochet down the entire row. For 1 single crochet in every stitch for rows 1 and 2. So again, I can show you that. That is 1. And this is 2. Now it doesn't seem like much. The faces don't seem like much until you start adding on your felt, which I feel is a very fun part of this. Chain 1, and that is your fin. So, oh sorry, almost forgot. And also make a slip stitch border around the fin. So, after you finish that, we're going to move on to the felt part of this.